Caleb, I guess, who asks, is America still the strongest nation in the world? If not, who is? If America falls, will another nation rise to take its place? Well, my opinion is, on one level, nations have risen and fallen throughout human history, and so when the big dog goes down, then somebody else gets to be the next big dog. So yes, when America falls, another nation will take its place. That is pretty much inevitable. But there are two operational statements there that are up for argument. One of them is when America falls. You can't deny history. Every great nation has always fallen, and I can't do anything about that. All I can do is make sure it doesn't happen on my watch. All I can do is make sure it doesn't happen today. And so when I think about when is America going to fall, my answer is never. It's never going to fall. Even though on some level I suppose it must. My attitude is not today. And if it's not today, and we can keep growing enough crops of people who feel like it's not today, then she'll be around for a long time. A long time. So the first part of the question is America still the strongest nation in the world? Without question, it is. Without question, it is the strongest nation in the world. And it's the strongest nation in the world with having handcuffed itself and tied itself down to the beach. We drive stakes into the beach every day. We're Gulliver who binds himself. We're the strongest nation in the world by a wide margin as we shackle our feet to the rocks daily. If we would just get out of our own way, watch out. If I was playing Risk or any other game where you had to pick nations, I would pick America first, and I would give up my next 4 choices, or 8. If I had America, I could do anything. Anything. I would take America in a trade. I would take America, and you can have the rest of the choices. I don't care. I would win. Because I'd get out of her way. I'd let her go. I'd let her be free, and I'd let her do what she does best. America is the strongest nation in the world. Economically, it's still the strongest. Militarily, without question, it's still the strongest. This is why when we bow down before people like Vladimir Putin, makes me weak with anger, because when the British bowed down before Hitler, they had allowed Hitler to become more powerful than they were. Even then, at the time of the French invasion of France, it was more or less equally matched. It's just the Germans believed in themselves and the Western Allies didn't. But for us to be that much stronger than them and to take a knee and bow and get out of their way and ask them not to hurt us, I'd show that man a thing or two. I would show Vladimir Putin a thing or two. I would show him one of the things, I don't know if we were talking about, I guess we talked about this last week. That idea that, that if you're the president of the United States, you should have an attitude such as, my military is run by Curtis LeMay. And Curtis LeMay, as head of the Strategic Air Command, said that peace is our profession, war we just do for kicks. That's the exact posture I would project. And it's not a posture in the sense that a posture might be a bluff. I would want guys who are planning on how they're going to just destroy everything that has a Russian star on it that moves. I want guys that just living for that moment. Let them go. And I want Vladimir Putin to know that I'm just barely hanging on to these people by the skin of my teeth. And man, don't make it impossible for me to hold these people back, rather than this weakness and this, pathetic, my wife doesn't want me talking to this prime minister, so therefore I'm going to move. She's going to take a seat between me and this woman who may have been a prime minister, maybe he was just having fun flirting with, Barack, you sit over there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's an utter mystery why he thinks he's got our number. Anyway, Caleb, it is still the strongest nation in the world. If America falls, will another nation rise to take its place? The answer is yes, but the answer is also no. Without question, another nation will rise to take its place. But the fact is, America's unique. It's always been unique. It's unique in that America is the international country. It's the only place in the world that has had a historical-sized footprint that is made up from people from all the rest of the world. I mean, you think about it, it's absolutely amazing. It's the reason why we have this actual moral authority, genuine moral authority, unlike the pretend kind. It's like, well, what gives you the right to intervene in Cuba? We have a large number of Cuban citizens that are Americans now. We have a large number of Filipino citizens. We have a large number of German citizens and British citizens. It's a nation where people have come from all around the world to come here. This is our home. And we left those countries. And we don't see the thing about America, ultimately, when you get right down to it, Caleb, the one thing that's unique about America, really, when you get down to the geopolitical force fields and power and all this, get all the ideology, strip all the ideology away. Ultimately, the reason America is different than its predecessors as the dominant world power is the first time in history ever that a country has had the kind of power that we have, where we don't want anything. We don't want anything. The rest of the world can't believe this. They think we're nuts. They think we're lying, but it's true. It's not only we don't need it, we don't want it. Oh, you guys want to take over territory in Russia? Why would we take over territory in GD Russia? Honestly, Russia's a pit. It's filled with alcoholics. You can have the whole damn thing. We live in paradise. We got the run of the place. We got the best land on the board. Oh, you're hegemony in South America. You're just looking for territory. Really? Honestly? I just came back from Yosemite National Park and I want a piece of Honduras? Seriously? We live across the hills from Malibu, and you're telling me that I want a piece of Zimbabwe? Come on. No. The reason this country is unique as a world power is because it has no territorial designs. When we say we're fighting for people's freedom, we mean it. And this business about a war for oil is like, last time I checked, we're paying for that oil. We're paying for it. We're not taking it. We could. Everybody knows we could, but we don't. We pay for it. We're trading people like the Saudis real money for something that they didn't even know was under their feet and can't get out from under their feet even if they wanted to. Of all the people in the world, I think it's hard to find people I have a lower opinion of than the Saudis. There may be one or two, but they are right down at the bottom of the list of people. They can't. Look, the best thing I ever heard about Saudi Arabia was I talked to an engineer who was in... There it goes again. There goes the brain. Kuwait. He said he was in Kuwait for 3 years and saw Saudis every day. Lots and lots and lots of them. He said he never saw a Saudi man lift anything heavier than his wallet. Yep. That's it. They can't get the oil. They can't go for it. They can't maintain it. They can't build the cars. They can't design their buildings. All of those buildings in Dubai and all these other things are all Western architects and Western engineers and Western this. We are paying them real money to pull this valuable stuff out from under the sand. And if we wanted to take it, we could. But we don't. That's never happened. And I think by now you probably have gotten a sense of my admiration for the British Empire and for their sense of fair play and decency and law. But the actual honest-to-God fact is, the British Empire did, in fact, pull resources, suck resources out from the world, took the wealth of India and the wealth of everywhere else there was, and shipped it back home to Great Britain. We do exactly the opposite. We pay for this stuff more than it costs. We push money and wealth out into the world. We push wealth into the world. China's a rich country now because we're paying the Chinese for the stuff that they're making. And ditto for India. All these call centers that are so frustrating. You know, you call American Airlines and you want to book your reservation change, and they say, "Can I get your name, please?" And it's like, Bill. And they say, "Could you spell that?" Sure, I could spell it. Could you spell Bill? Absolutely. B-I-L-L. These Indian call centers are making India, among all the other things in India, making India a rich country because we're paying them. We're not doing what the British did to India, taking the resources out of there. The British gave them something in exchange for what they took out of there. Whether or not it was a good deal is up for discussion. But we pay. We pay them. When we have a military base in the Philippines, we pay them hundreds of millions of dollars a year for that base. And when the Philippine people decide in a not large enough number to vote against it, we don't want you here anymore, sayonara. Here you go. You can have the base. You can have it. What are we going to do? Take it with us? Some people would have, some people would have blown those bases up. There are people, and I bet the Russians are one of them, and the Chinese are another, who, when they'd been asked to leave Subic Bay or Clark Air Force Base, would have simply torn up the runways and said, okay, here's your land the way we found it. We don't do that. So while some other nation will someday rise to take our place, no one's going to take our place in terms of what we are to the world. That's never going to happen again. It can't happen again. Not here. Not on this planet. So that's that. So I love this country. And that's why I fight for her. Because she's marvelous and unique and good and awesome and fun and cool. All the things I like. And so closes Stratosphere.